Hi, my name's Monique Rhodes. I'm a happiness strategist. I've taught thousands of people all over the world how to be happier. My programs are used in over 70 colleges and universities worldwide. I would love to help you get happier. So one of my students came to me the other day and told me that she was feeling really stuck. She didn't know what was going on. Like her life just felt like it was really in a stuck place. And she asked me if I would teach about this. So I want to teach about this because what happens is that so often you wake up and everything seems fine on the surface. You know, you've got things to do. You're moving through your day. Maybe you're even achieving things. Your work's getting done. Your emails are being answered. The groceries might even be in the fridge. But underneath all that motion, there's this stuckness that doesn't feel peaceful. Feels pretty stuck, right? You don't feel excited. You don't feel inspired. You feel flat or restless or anxious, and you start to ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? I should be grateful. Things are okay. Why do I feel like I'm just not moving? Right? This feeling of being stuck, it's got to be one of the most frustrating experiences we have as human beings, and yet it's one of the most common. And here's the surprising truth. Feeling stuck is not a problem to be fixed. It's a signal to be understood. So let me explain. Most people think that feeling stuck comes from not being motivated enough, not being productive enough, not having the right routine or tools or goals. That's what the world tells us. Hustle harder, plan better, wake up earlier, do more. But often that's not the real reason we're stuck. We get stuck because something inside us is trying to keep us safe. All right? So our nervous system and our subconscious mind, they're wired for protection, not for expansion. So when you try to step into a bigger version of your life, maybe you're trying to deepen a relationship or make friends or grow your business or speak up more or take a creative risk, somewhere in you, there's a part that tightens. And that part says, wait a minute. This is unfamiliar. This is risky. This could lead to disappointment. This could lead to rejection. This could lead to failure. And so you stall, not because you don't want more, but because the part of you that wants to feel safe is louder than the part of you that wants to grow. So one of my clients once said to me, I feel like I'm living in the hallway. You know, the door behind me is closed, but the one in front of me hasn't opened yet, and I don't know what to do while I'm waiting. I love that metaphor because that's what stuckness often feels like. You're not where you were, but you're not where you want to be. And it's in that liminal space, the space in between, where all of our insecurities rise up. But here's the thing, that hallway, it's not a passive space. It's not dead time. It's sacred. That's where the real work happens. That's where we meet ourselves. Not through doing, but through noticing. So when you feel stuck, instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Maybe you want to try asking, what am I afraid might happen if I move forward? Or what am I protecting myself from? Or where am I believing I need to be perfect before I begin? You know, so often the real reason we feel stuck is because we've unconsciously created a rule like, I can't write this book until I know it'll be good, or I can't leave this job until I know the next one will work out, or I can't speak up unless I know I won't upset anyone. These rules, they keep us frozen because the certainty we're craving doesn't exist. So sometimes feeling stuck is actually a strategy we've adopted to avoid pain. It's safer to stay in the known, even if it's unfulfilling, than to risk something new. But here's what I've seen over and over again. The moment we stop seeing stuckness as a personal failure and instead we treat it as a protective mechanism, we begin to soften. We become curious. We start to ask ourselves, what part of me is afraid? What's the belief underneath this paralysis? What am I making this moment mean about me? That's when things begin to move. Not because we forced them, but because we stop fighting ourselves. Another surprising truth is this: the longer we stay stuck, the more that shame tends to build up. So we think, everyone else seems to be figuring things out. What's wrong with me? Or why can't I just get over it? Or why do I keep doing the same thing over and over again? But shame's never going to move you forward. What will move you forward is compassion. Compassion says, of course you're stuck. You've been through a lot. You're doing your best with what you've got. Let's try and understand this gently. That's what compassion would say. And the moment you shift into that tone with yourself, the energy changes. Suddenly you're not fighting your stuckness. You're listening to it, and that's when movement becomes possible. So here's something else I want to offer. Sometimes what we call stuck is actually something else entirely. Sometimes you're not stuck, you're tired. Sometimes you're not stuck, you're grieving. Sometimes you're not stuck, you're healing. Sometimes you're not stuck, you're preparing. So there's a kind of growth that happens underneath. It's there, it's quiet, it's invisible. A little bit like the way a seed takes a moment before it breaks open. Just because you can't see movement doesn't mean it's not happening. So instead of demanding progress, maybe you ask yourself, what does this moment of life need from me? Or can I allow myself to be here without rushing ahead? Or what would it be like to trust this pace? So if you're feeling stuck right now, know this. You're not broken, you're not behind, you're not lazy. You're simply being invited into a deeper relationship with yourself. You're being invited into an invitation that listens to the fears beneath your frustration. You're being invited to bring tenderness where you've brought criticism, or to trust that just because you can't see the path forward doesn't mean it isn't forming beneath your feet. You don't have to push. You've just got to be present, because the moment you stop abandoning yourself in your stuckness and instead you turn toward it with love, that's when the real transformation begins. I hope this has been helpful. As always, don't forget, come and subscribe. We've got a lovely little community here. I'd love you to join it. I'd love to teach you more about how you can take control of your life and be happier. As always, be kind. Take care. Go gently in the world.